with the Love is Kind Network. We have a very special day today in the United States. And so I'm changing from what I had originally planned. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more related to the election, but it's going to help everybody. So if you have anxiety, I call this emotions rising, because if you have anxiety, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're confused, whether it's from this election, whether it's from the pandemic, whether it's from your relationships, whether it's just from your work or your not work, whatever is coming up for you, emotions are rising. That is today's topic. So I am CEO and founder of the Love is Kind Network. I'm an international award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, podcaster with Vulnerable to Valuable, a must listen if you've experienced narcissism in your life at any point in time and you want to move forward. I'm about moving forward. I'm not talking about rehashing the past. I'm not talking about how to explain how you got there, how it happened. That's not my role. You can see a therapist for that, and they are wonderful, and I would highly recommend it. But if you are ready to move forward in your life, which is what I'm going to be talking about even today, then I'm your gal. I've been there 25 years in a highly abusive relationship until my international escape with my daughter that now has transformed my life. And now I'm leading a movement, the Love is Kind movement, to make a, an impact to help other women with their children so they can release themselves of the shackles of abuse, the ones that are actually holding them in their mind. They may be physically free, but now you are chained. And now I'm wondering if all during the US election, whether you're an American or not, whether you're living here in the United States or not, people watch what happens in the United States. And I want to help you go through this a little bit easier. So I'm going to be sharing a number of strategies to help you, again, whether it's because of the election or something else, to overcome the anxiety, to what I call release the pressure valve. You know, the pressure cookers when I didn't really grow up with one very much, but when I lived overseas, we used pressure cookers all the time because it made things cook faster, right? So things are boiling and bursting faster. And that's how these emotions might feel for you. And they might feel really out of control. And you feel a lot of anxiety and angst and frustration and confusion and overwhelm. And, right, just not being able to really be yourself. And maybe you're kind of judging yourself as well. So I want to go through these with you so you can really move forward today. Okay, so as you're going, and you might want to listen to this again and take notes as you're doing this because this is so important. And the first thing I want you to do, the first thing I'm offering you is to honor yourself that you care so much. We just get so involved, and that's why we have cheerleaders, right? At games and things like that. We love the enthusiasm that brings. So honor yourself for caring so much, for wanting to be out there, to wanting to vote, to wanting that you have a strong opinion. And I remember when I was in my abusive relationship, my voice was crushed. So being able to vote is my way of expressing my voice, and it's your way too. So honor all of that. Honor the whole process. Now, next one. Take a deep breath as I share this. Recognize that each person has a right to their opinion. And we may get into this self-righteous, I'm right kind of attitude. And I know I get into it too. It's part of the human experience. It's part of the human experience. But just step back a little bit. Just step back and try to look at the bigger picture of what is happening here, happening in the world, in the US elections, happening in your life. You may be in a relationship, or you were in a relationship, and you think your way was the right way, and it's like, how could they behave that way? Do you see how this manifests? It could be whether it's in work, it could be yourself, and it could be happening in a lot of different areas in your life. So take a big global look, step back and see, how am I showing up? Right? How am I showing up? And for those of us in America who are voting, the United States, this is not the first time the United States has had a big challenge. It's not the first time we've been through this, and neither is it for you. The United States is going to survive, and so will you. You will survive. And how you survive is going to be up to the next few steps that we're going to be taking. Whether you're going to enjoy this ride or you're going to be continuing to fight with anxiety and stress. There's always a way to voice yourself, voice your opinion without having that undercurrent of anxiety and stress. It can be maybe a motivating factor, but to communicate that way will diffuse your message and will make you feel a little bit less than what you really want to be. So the third way I want to share with you is the most important one. The most important one. And hear me, especially you women, hear me. Take care of yourself. This is always the most important way. It's coming from kindness for yourself, because when you are kind to yourself, you show up with courage, you show up with strength, you show up as being a person who can rise above. And it's easy. It's easy when when things aren't going your way to get stressed. We've all been through that. Again, this is part of our human life. And it's just like, do you want to continue being that way, or do you want to show up a little bit differently? So I'm going to share with you a few things right now. The first one is a very simple technique. It's used a lot, and the reason it's used a lot is because it's effective. And that is taking nice, deep breaths. A lot of times, especially when you get anxious, you're breathing way up here in your chest, way up here. And they're very shallow, and there's not enough oxygen getting into your whole body, into your brain. So take some deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose through the count of 4, and then exhale slowly through your mouth on a count of 6 to push yourself to go slowly. It's that exhalation. It's part of the vagus nerve that will relax and calm you. And do that at least 4 times. And if you need to, do it throughout the day, whatever it is. Like, okay, I'm going to just, you can look outside, you can look at some trees, your backyard, you can look at a favorite picture, and just breathe. Shift from where you are and get into the very, 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 very present of your breath. And even hear your breath going in as you breathe in and as you exhale through your mouth. You can even make a noise. You can even make a shudder. Ah, breathe it out. That will do wonders for you. Because it's only when we start from there can we be more open, even open to ourselves. I'm sharing with you just a few things, but there are so many ways to take care of yourself and to show up as you want to show up. Okay, number two of the taking care of yourself part of this is, first we did the deep breathing. Then the second one is observe your thoughts. And you might be going, like, what? What do you mean, observe my thoughts? I'm just talking and I'm just rattling out and I just have my thoughts. What do you mean, observe my thoughts? Well, that's the whole point, is what are you thinking? Write down, just start randomly writing down whatever comes into your mind. Just write it out. Oh, this is my thought. This is my thought. This is my thought. And all of a sudden you're gonna realize, wow, my brain is really busy thinking a lot of things. And sometimes those thoughts are useful, and sometimes those thoughts are not useful. And when you are in a high anxiety, high emotions are rising, your thoughts will tend towards the negative about yourself and the negative about everybody else and about the world and the situation. It will go to negativity. Again, this is your brain just doing its thing. It just loves to do its thing. It just loves to make sure you see the dark side of life. And that's why you have to start by observing what you're thinking. Observing what you're thinking. And so then the next one is to know that your thoughts create your feelings. So if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, and your thoughts are creating those feelings, then it might be worthwhile choosing some new thoughts. But first, just start by taking one of your thoughts, one thought, and then saying, well, when I think this thought, how do I feel? When I think this thought, how do I feel? So, and the thoughts can be a useful thought or a not useful thought, and the feeling is the feeling that you have. So, for example, if I think about a puppy dog, I can just start smiling, right? If you think about a puppy dog, you think, oh, it's just so sweet and it makes me feel so good. And so I like that thought. I like thinking about puppy dogs. And that's why sometimes when you're feeling anxious, it's good to watch videos of puppy dogs or kittens or whatever your favorite little animal is, because it can bring you joy instantly. Amazing, right? And I just thought it. I'm not seeing a puppy dog. I don't even have a puppy dog. I just said when I think of a puppy dog, I start to feel some joy in my life. Pretty cool. Just by switching right instantly. I could think about, I can now switch my thought, and I can be thinking about all the work I have to do. Oh my gosh, my house. Got to clean my house. Got to clean my house. The dust. I don't like dust. It's like I got to clean the dust. And then I can instantly start to feel stressed. Has anything changed? Nothing's changed. I've been talking to you. The only thing that's changed are my thoughts and then how I'm feeling. Just like that, right? Pretty amazing. So, just take one by one. You wrote down all those thoughts that you were having, and then just say, okay, what am I feeling about this? What am I feeling? Okay. And you can see just with a couple examples that I gave you how quickly you can change because you are in charge of your thoughts. So I want you to challenge yourself and just ask yourself some questions. Is this the way I want to feel? Do I want to feel stressed? Probably not. Do I want to feel angry? Maybe. Maybe not. Depends how you act when you feel something. I'm not going to go there today, but that's sort of part of the whole thing is like, how are you going to behave? And I will get to a very brief conclusion about that a little bit later. So, what purpose is it serving? How is this feeling of anger serving me? How is this feeling of anxiety serving me or not serving me? Is this how I want to feel? Getting back to, is this how I want to feel? How can I think about this, whatever your this is, maybe the election, maybe your relationship, maybe the pandemic, maybe your children, maybe a whole bunch of it, whatever your this is, your topic. How can I think about this differently that is more useful and helpful to me? More useful and helpful to me, because this is your life. How are you showing up in your life? How do you want to be in your life? Because it's going to impact, not only you, but those close to you and others around you that you have interactions with. Whether maybe you'll be writing Facebook posts and you're impacting other people on how you're feeling at the moment. So if you are feeling anxiety and stress and then you just write this email or Facebook post or Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, it may feel good for that short moment. But is that how you want to show up in life? Those are your questions to answer, right? Not me. I don't have any answers for you. I don't have answers for you. So let's go over how to release the pressure uh, in you, no matter what the situation is. Okay, no matter what the situation is, I want you to take a look at this. One is honor yourself that you care so much. Okay, being able to vote is really a privilege. Being able to share your voice is a privilege, right? It's a privilege. So honor yourself. Recognize each person has a right to their own opinion. Look, the world would be really boring. Let's get this straight. The world would be really boring if we all thought the same thing. We wouldn't even grow if we weren't challenged by somebody else's thinking. So step back a little bit and see what the bigger picture is. See, how can I grow in this? Maybe I don't have to agree with them, but maybe I can learn acceptance that people have another opinion. That's a way to grow. Just acceptance that people can have a different opinion than me. Okay. And know that you're going to survive. Okay. 3, taking care of you. Right? And taking care of you has many, many, many different forms. And this is the most important because only you can take care of you. Right? Unless you're a child. This is not for you. These are for adults. I'm talking to adults. I'm talking to you. You're an adult, right? So you're responsible for you, taking care of you. So to start to release that pressure that you're feeling from all the anxiety and all those emotions just kind of boiling up in you, bubbling up, is take some deep breaths. 2, observe your thoughts, meaning write down your thoughts. Just kind of look at what your brain is coming out with and realizing that it has a lot of thoughts and that brain of yours thinks they're all right. But now it's time to come up with some new thoughts and new ways of thinking that support you better. Because every time, so this gets to 3, is that every thought you have creates a feeling. So just take one of those thoughts and see, okay, what feeling is that generating? And then asking yourself questions. Is this how I want to feel? Is this how I want to feel? Is this how I want to show up? How can I think about this differently? Those are so important for you. These are just really quick tips for you to kind of go down, release and relax. Whether it's the election that is causing all this anxiety and emotions rising, whether it's a narcissistic relationship that you're in or have gotten out of, but you still have anxiety about it and you want to move forward, whether it's about the pandemic and the anxiety you have about that. The good thing is that you have all these choices of creating the thoughts that you want. And yes, it does take practice. So all of this that I've went over takes maybe about 10-15 minutes, 10-15 minutes of your life so that you can show up better, so you can feel better. So you can switch from anxiety and stress and overwhelm and confusion and anger to a better state, maybe a little bit calmer, maybe a little bit more relaxed, maybe a little bit more confident, maybe a little bit of joy, maybe a little bit of happiness. I'm not saying you're going to go to everything's, roses and peaches and cherries and everything good, but just a shift. So now you've lowered that anxiety level a little bit so you can be yourself a little bit more. So just ask yourself, how do I want to show up? How do I want to behave? How do I want to be during this time? But one thing I will share, that violence and anger, expressed anger, are never good solutions. Because you hurt others, you hurt yourself, because this is just showing this is anger that you have not been able to manage and process. So you're choosing to throw your anger onto somebody else who doesn't deserve it. So I want you to think about that. While you may have anger, it's not a good choice to thrash your anger or violence onto somebody else because they don't deserve it. So let's switch from anger rising to kindness rising. Let's rise the kindness level. Have a fabulous day. And I invite you to contact me. Just go to theloveiskindnetwork.com/contact. Contact me to get some help. This is not a time to be alone with your thoughts. As you start to see them, it's like, whoa, they're crazy thoughts that are not serving me. So reach out and get some support now. You deserve that. This is Rosie Aiello with the Love is Kind Network. You deserve to be treated with kindness. And it starts, my dear friend, by being kind to yourself. Take care.